And the technique we're going to be looking at is going to be the pendulum serve. Okay, welcome back to another video, and today we're going to look at one particular technique. And the technique we're going to be looking at is going to be the pendulum serve. The pendulum serve, probably the most popular serve used, the most common serve used. In this video, we're going to look at the technique. We're going to look at how to produce some different spins, and then we're also going to look at how we can integrate some deception into that as well. So it's worth thinking about which section is most relevant for you. If you've not done the serve before, then you might just be interested more in this first part where we're going to talk a little bit about technique. If you've got the technique down, you might want to concentrate on producing some different spins and some different effects. And if you're happy that you're able to produce different effects and different spins, then you might focus more on the deceptive parts of the serve. Okay, so we're going to start first of all with the grip. You can perform this serve with a normal playing grip. Players like Vladimir Samsonov, a good example where he would tend to adopt this normal playing grip and he still will serve this pendulum technique. However, fairly common that we adopt a more of a service grip for this serve. So from my playing grip here, my fingers are just going to go up onto the back of the backhand rubber. I tend to have two there, and then the other 2 or 3, depending on your preference, will go onto the handle, and then my thumb is going to go almost into the center of the bat here. And that is going to allow me to move my wrist all the way this way and all the way this way, with getting that handle over the top of my wrist. So that range of motion can help you maximize the spin that you can get on the ball. When I'm performing a serve, I tend to serve from more of a side-on position. Okay, so I'll either have my leg just touching the back of the table, or sometimes I might even have my leg behind the side of the table here. Okay, I'm more of a forehand dominant player, so I'll tend to serve more from this corner, so that once I've served, I'm able to cover a little bit more of the table with my forehand. If I was a backhand player, then maybe I might use the serve a little bit more from the middle, and then I'm able to cover a little bit more of the table with the backhand. So that starting position can change depending on your style and what's going to allow you to get your strengths in early on into the point. For the purpose of this video, I'm going to serve a little bit more from this neutral position here. Okay, so the pendulum serve is where our bat will be coming from right to left for a right-hander, and it starts away from the body and then it's coming towards the body. Okay, and it gets its name because it's like similar to a swinging pendulum, like a grandfather clock. We tend to get a lot more control when the bat is much closer to our body. If the throw up is too far away, it's a little bit more awkward to try and get around the ball. So just trying to keep that throw up nice and close, and then it's much easier, not quite so stressful on the wrist. Then I want to try and avoid a little bit hitting too much of the back of the ball. I want to try and come around the side of the ball a little bit more. Let's have a look at a couple. And first of all, you're just going to start by moving through the ball. Okay, if we get a nice light brush on the ball, you will get some movement. Once you start to become comfortable with this action, the contact on the ball, then it's adding in a quicker movement and then the wrist snapping through. That's going to add more quality, more spin, probably a little bit more speed into the serve as well, so it ups the difficulty. Okay, so that extra rotation, that extra bit of spin, much more likely that when that hits someone's bat, it's going to ping off, it's going to stand up a little bit more, and then you've potentially got more chances to create an attack. And again, once you're happy with that, not neglecting the obvious things like getting that ball into different spaces. So can we get it into the short forehand? Can we get it wide backhand? Can we get it into the middle? Yeah, into that part there where your opponent's having to make a decision. So we want to have full control of the ball. Can we get it wherever we need to? And on these examples here, I'm serving short. I'm hitting the ball roughly net height, aiming about halfway up my side of the table, and that should allow me to get my 2 bounces. Okay, on to part 2 then, where we're looking at producing some different spins. So first of all, we're going to look at backspin. So for me to get backspin with this pendulum technique, I need the bat to be much flatter. So I'm still swinging in from here, but instead of it being really open here, I want to have it much flatter with a small angle, and I want to contact more towards the front of the bat. And I should either be getting a sharp turn on the table, almost at right angles, or if I'm getting enough backspin, then I might even get that ball to come back towards me. Okay, so that's a good indication that I'm getting the spin that I need. Once again, once you've got those parts right, then it's adding in that acceleration. Yeah, can we not only get that ball to come back, but can we get it to come back quickly? It's a good indication that we've got some significant spin on there. Quite a common message I hear about producing spin is to have a nice loose grip. I have a slightly different view. I think that loose grip is needed, probably on the approach and for the preparation of it, but actually on the point of contact, there's a squeezing when I use this. So I squeeze my finger and thumb, and that just helps me accelerate the racket head through a little bit more and allows me to get that additional spin. So give that a little try, experiment with that. Try not to be loose the whole way through. It's hard to be very quick. Instead, think about the finger and thumb throwing the racket head through the ball. That's what's causing that acceleration. And something that's slightly different with this is now I'm serving with backspin. The ball's a little bit slower. I need to adjust that bounce. So instead of going into the middle of my side, I need to push that bounce a little bit closer to the net. And again, don't neglect the obvious varieties, the easy things to do. Can we get it into the different parts of the table consistently? Okay, the second variation, we're going to look at producing some topspin. So for the backspin, our bat was much flatter with a small angle. This time for topspin, we're going to really open this angle. And then when we come through here, we're going to think a little bit more about lifting the bat up towards my chest, towards your face, somewhere this way where there's an upwards motion on the point of contact. That's going to really allow us to exaggerate the amount of topspin that we get. So when we're serving this technique with some topspin, there's a danger of that ball drifting long or coming a little bit higher. And there's some things that we can change to help give us more consistency with producing that serve short. So topspin wants to jump up and it wants to jump forwards as well. Okay, so if I still contact the ball at net height with this serve, it can sometimes bounce up a little bit too high. So the simple thing to change is, rather than net height, I need to let the ball drop just a little bit more. Okay, the second thing is, because it wants to jump forward, instead of pitching the ball in the middle of the table, I'm just going to bring that bounce back a little bit closer to me. So if I can go a little bit lower, a little bit closer, then I should be able to get my short topspin serve. Again, I don't want that ball to go long, so I'm trying to contact that ball as thinly as I can. That's going to help me exaggerate the amount of spin. That's also putting less force into the back of the ball, gives me much more chance of holding that ball up. We do need to be a little bit careful on this one of not maximizing the spin, because if we're maximizing the spin, we're probably going to contact a little bit thicker, might catch it a little bit higher, the ball's going to drift a little bit longer. If you're going to maximize spin, then you're probably going to use this serve as a bit more of a surprise, and you're trying to catch them out with a longer one and trying to increase that kick. And again, with this, don't forget the obvious things. Can we get the short topspin into all parts of the table? Okay, part 3, creating some deception with this technique. Now for me, it's very difficult to hide some parts of the topspin serve. There are certain things that happen which can be quite obvious. So the bat tends to be much more open, so your opponent's seeing much more of the bat here, and then they're seeing this upwards motion which is normally instigated by this elbow. So they're getting a big signal here with an open bat, elbow coming up, and that can help them make quite a quick decision on what's happening, and then the pressure's back on you. So I like to use this information to apply the deceptive parts to my serve. So I know that the bat is open, I know that my elbow is lifting high. So I'm going to do a few top spins, and I need to really think about what that looks like. Where is my bat finishing? Okay, so for me, there's a little turn here. My elbow's up here. So I need to remember what this looks like and what it feels like. So now I'm going to try and go back to my backspin serve. But now I'm going to try and implement this type of finish into that serve. So the quicker I can do that after I've made the backspin, the more effective that deception will be. So sometimes I'm just overdoing that a little bit too much, maybe giving too many signals away. So I just need to try and be a little bit more subtle with that movement. That was a slightly better finish then. Didn't quite get the spin I wanted, but the finish was better. Here's the two serves without deception. Topspin first. Backspin. And here's with deception. So we are serving with two different spins, so there will be differences, that's for sure. Our objective here is just to try and make things as similar as possible. Can we create enough doubt that your opponent isn't sure? Maybe they come in with an open angle. If they're not sure, then backspin goes down and topspin pops up. Sometimes we might even be able to make them make the wrong decision. You know, they might come in and think that it's backspin with a really open bat, and the ball jumps up. And then we've got an opportunity to try and finish the point. Okay, so we're not after exactly the same. That's probably not possible, but the more similar we can keep those two actions, the more effective that serve can be. So let me know in the comments, which part is more relevant for you? Is it the first part where it's just the technique that you're going to start exploring? Is it the second part where you're just starting to create a couple of different spins? Or perhaps you're more advanced and you're working on that deceptive part and you're really trying to create more spin, create more effect, and create more illusions. So let me know in the comments, 1, 2, or 3. It's going to ping in. Can we get it into the middle? I think quite a As ever, if you need any table tennis equipment, head to Bryant Table Tennis. The link is in the description of the video. Head to the Bryant website and treat yourself or someone. Thanks again for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. This is a more fun one. I really like getting into the detail of the deceptive elements as well, the more complex stuff. So I hope you found it useful. I hope you enjoyed it, and see you at the next one.